So far, all these podcasts have been on the long side. I'm going to try and shorten them up just a little bit because I know your time is precious and you have important things to do. I don't want to take all your time. Today and the next couple of days, I'm going to be talking about fear. And the last 2 years have taught us anything. This has just been a 2-year campaign of fear. Be afraid, be very, very afraid. There's something to be afraid of, and then once we think that's over with, then it's, well, you got to be afraid of this, and you have to cower in fear and stay locked up and don't look at people, don't touch people, don't, all kinds of crazy stuff. And so there's a couple of acronyms for fear. One is false evidence appearing real, and another one is forget everything and run. And with the false evidence appearing real, there is actually some truth to it. See, the best lies have a modicum of truth in them. And so it's evidence that does appear real, and we can make ourselves really think it's real, but we're not sure because we can skip ahead of where we're at now, and we try and connect dots. And so it's not, we're making evidence that's not necessarily there that appears real to us, and so we live in that. And a lot of times that will make you just drop everything you're doing and run. It will make you forget everything and run and not live your life. The one I like is that turns it to a positive is face everything and rise. And all of us get afraid. That's that's just life. But it's not whether you are going to be afraid or not. It's what you're going to do with that. If you're going to cower in fear, or if you're going to face it and rise. And you're an overcomer, and God has put so much inside of you that you can come against it, that whatever you're imagining happening may or may not happen, but life will happen, and you can either face it and rise, or you can cower in fear. And I like this one too. When you're afraid, you focus your thoughts, equip yourself for battle, act, and remember God is in control. It's just important to focus our thoughts on God, what is true, what is positive, what we know. Even if the situation will be bad, just to focus and just know that we can get through it, to equip ourselves to just go in with a positive attitude, to know that we are not in control, that God is in control, and just to be as knowledgeable about what is coming at us as we can be. And Philippians 4:6-7 says, one translation says, do not be anxious. Another translation says, do not worry. And so it says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. The Message translation puts it this way. There's a couple of lines in here that I really like. It says, don't fret or worry. Instead of worrying, pray. Let petitions and praises shape your worries into prayers. And I think that is so powerful, and that's what we should do when we become afraid. We should, what is making us afraid, we need to form those into prayers, letting God know your concerns. Before you know it, a sense of God's wholeness, everything coming together for good, will come and settle you down. It's wonderful what happens when Christ displaces worry at the center of your life. And that's just what prayer does. It when our worries and when we're anxious and we're worried, and we form those into prayers to God, Christ will displace worry at the center of our life. That doesn't mean what we're worried about won't actually happen. It just means that we can be at peace knowing that God is in control. See, you were born for such a time as this, and so you can arise and be all that you have dreamed.
Thanks for watching and listening. It would mean so much to me if you hit the like or subscribe button on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Rumble, YouTube, or like the Facebook page.